Please forgive this unconventional camera angle. I don't have a way to hook up a camera or even my phone to the dashboard without getting the kind of weird... Anyway, hi! My name's Derek, and normally I'm a Monster Kid. I mean, I'm always a Monster Kid. You guys might know me from Monster Kid Radio, my YouTube channel. But this Saturday morning, I'm doing something non-Monster Kid related. I know, but, bear with me. Years ago, I was a comic book fan. I mean, I still am, I guess, but I'm kind of a lapsed comic book fan. I would say lately, though, I've been going through a bout of what I call comic-stalgia. What I mean by that is that I just kind of fell away. It got to be expensive, and I wasn't really digging the mainstream comics anymore, and, getting to a regular comic book shop on a regular basis became kind of difficult. And I just kind of fell off of the whole thing, and, whatever. Because of that, though, I really didn't care about the Marvel movies. I didn't care about the superhero movies, and I didn't start seeing them in the theater until recently. Now, a few years ago, I finally decided to start watching them, and I dug them. I really enjoyed them. I actively fought them for a long time. I actually used to give my friends grief saying that Captain America, that's not my Captain America. My Captain America is Cap Wolf, or some of the more outlandish stuff. Like when Thor turned into a frog, that's my Thor. So I really kind of avoided it all, but I'm glad that I finally got into it, and I'm enjoying them quite a bit. So what am I doing this Saturday morning? Why am I recording while driving? Well, I'm actually driving to Cinetopia, which is a theater not too far away from my home, and I'm meeting up with my friend Tom Doppel, who you've heard on past episodes of the Monster Kid Radio podcast. He's a huge fan of these movies, and he's one of the guys I used to give grief to, and he still teases me these days about these movies not being, my Doctor Strange or whatever, or my Black Panther. Not that I had a Black Panther to begin with, but you know what I mean. So I'm going to meet Tom for a screening of Avengers Infinity War. It's Saturday morning, and I feel like I've done a really good job staying away from spoilers. I want to thank all of my friends on my Facebook page and my Twitter feeds and everything else who respected Thanos's, or is it Thanos? I always go back and forth on it. Either way, respected the Mad Titan's demands that there be no spoilers. The demands for silence have been met. So I'm going to go see the movie pretty unspoiled. I don't know anything about who might lose, who might die, who might turn up, any surprise cameo, any of that. I don't know. I'm familiar with the original Infinity War comics. I was reading comics when those first came out, and the Infinity Gauntlet stuff, and the Infinity War, and was it Infinity Crusade? Yeah, I think it was Infinity Crusade. Yeah, that was the third one. Anyway, I was reading the comics then, and I enjoyed those. And I've always liked the Avengers. I'm a huge fan of the Avengers now, and have been going back and rereading a lot of Avengers comics. Doctor Strange is my guy, though. I was always a fan of Doctor Strange, had been for years. One of these days, I might do a video about my first Doctor Strange comic. Without that Doctor Strange comic, I don't think I'd be as big a fan of comics, period. Wasn't the first comic that got me hooked, but it's pretty darn close. It means a lot to me, and but we'll talk about that in a future episode of, let's just call it here. We'll do a series. We'll call it Comic-Stalgia. What I like about Cinetopia is that you reserve your seats ahead of time, which is nice when you can plan ahead. I know some people are not a big fan of the reserved seating, but, when you can plan ahead, especially when Cinetopia serves alcohol, which means they have theaters that are for 21 and over only. I'm not saying that I need to drink at the theater. I can't, but we can choose a theater that doesn't have a bunch of very young people in there. It just seems like the level of respect for the movie-going experience is higher when people are paying for their seats in advance and there aren't a lot of children who they have to be on top of. I'm not saying that I don't think Avengers is probably for kids. I mean, I'm sure kids are going to enjoy it. Just I appreciate not having to feel that, because a personality quirk with me is that if you are talking during a movie, I start paying more attention to you than the movie. And I know that's more me than you. You enjoy your movie however you want to enjoy it, but come on, man. Well, the movie's over, and wow, so spoilers. I know there was an embargo on spoilers on social media, and I'm not going to go down that route either. Maybe what I have to say would be considered spoiler-y, so that said, teeny tiny spoiler warning. I'm not going to say anything specifically, but I think people have been kind of talking about how dark this movie is. This movie is dark. This movie is reflective of some of the other big pop culture genre films that I saw growing up in the 80s that had that kind of dark ending. Empire Strikes Back and Star Trek II come to mind. What happened in this probably didn't have that. Man. No spoilers. Okay, what I liked about the movie is that everybody that was there had a chance to shine. Some people weren't there, and well, you know, I would have liked to have seen them. However, a couple of them, we do learn why they're not in the film. Some of the others, though, would have been nice to see. And these were like more supporting characters from a previous, relatively recent Marvel film. It would have been nice to have them in the mix, but you know, I understand. This is an Avengers movie, so we've got to stick to the Avengers primarily, and yeah, just kind of deal with that. The music, you know, I've been a fan of Alan Silvestri for a long time, ever since, well, Back to the Future, and I know he did work before then, and certainly since then, and he's been doing a lot of superhero music. He did the first Avengers, I believe, wasn't it? The first? Either way, Alan Silvestri, I like his work a lot, and I know there was a bunch of YouTube videos that went around making the rounds about how the Avengers doesn't have, you know, a dynamic score that's got a theme, but that's about it. And, you know, yeah, it's got the theme, but I didn't necessarily have a problem with the music in this film. I enjoyed it. I imagine myself listening to the score quite a bit. I really like some of the villains, not just Thanos, but some of the other villains as well. And I wish we could see more with them. But they do go up against some of my favorite characters from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I don't want them to beat those guys, so it's okay if they lose a little bit. I'm okay with that. I just would like to see more of them, maybe in a future film. Future film, okay. Hopes and Dreams. Well, I just hope it's as good. I did enjoy this movie quite a bit. Where do I rank it with the other Marvel Cinematic Universe films? You know, Doctor Strange is my guy. He always has been, so Doctor Strange is number one for me. I do like the first Avengers movie. I did really like Thor Ragnarok quite a bit. Black Panther blew me away. This one, I'd say, I'd put in the top 5. More for its ambition than its execution. What I mean by that is that this is pretty much the first time a studio's tried to do this, where they've gone in and taken all these disparate elements in the same universe and put them into one film. It's amazing. The logistics on that, I didn't even imagine making that happen. So, that all said, I really had a good time. And, will I want to see it on the big screen again? Maybe. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Will I? I don't know. There's so many other movies I want to see, and I got a podcast to produce, and books that I'm writing, and all this other stuff. I do appreciate the Marvel Cinematic Universe for what it is. And, you know, I know it's not, quote-unquote, my Captain America or whatever, but they get pretty darn close. And I know for a lot of people, this is their Captain America. This is their Winter Soldier. This is their Thor. This is their Star-Lord. And, you know, I'm very glad that there are others out there who can enjoy this movie from that point of view. From my point of view, as somebody who loved the comics growing up and is starting to get back into them again, the comic nostalgia kind of point of view, I had a good time. I enjoyed it. It's going to be a long year waiting for the next one. I was really kind of hoping they'd say what the new title was going to be. I know they've been kind of mum on that, and I was really hoping that during the end, at the very, very end, the way they've been doing for a while now, so-and-so will return in blah, blah, blah. And I was really hoping for, you know, the Avengers will return in Avengers 4, fill in the blank. I did like what we got instead. I like that quite a bit. Okay, so I'm about to get to my next destination on my weekend travels, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Please consider liking this video if you liked it, and please consider subscribing to the Monster Kid Radio YouTube channel. Normally I talk about classic monster movies, but like I said, I think every once in a while I'm going to pop in with a comic book-centric thing, and just kind of talking about comics from this relapsed comics nerd's point of view. Thanks for watching. See you next time.